Yo, what's going on, Council? Welcome back for another One Piece reaction. The Voyage continues with episode 1130. So if you would like to join the Council and become a part of the crew, then make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, everybody, so you don't miss a single upload. All right. So for this week, everybody, we got the beginning of the God Valley incident, and I cannot wait. I mean, they've been hyping this up for so long. Oda been hyping this up for so long, and we finally get to see it. It's amazing. I'm talking, we got Prime Garp, we got Prime Roger, and we actually gonna get to see the Rocks Pirates like for the first time, in the anime. Crazy, crazy, great. It's gonna be wonderful. It's gonna be wonderful. I cannot wait. But enough of that being said, everybody, let's just hop straight into it. Once again, One Piece episode 1130, A History Erased, God Valley of Despair. Damn, this POV is crazy. It still fucked the Celestial Dragon. This some bullshit. They're just all out there having fun and shit. Let this man chilling. Everybody moving out. Oh, that's crazy. That's why they doing this? Just to steal their natural resources? That's fucked up. Man, them folks gonna turn y'all into slaves. And there's that too, yeah. That's crazy. They recording it and just blasting it everywhere. Oh, they streaming it back to Marie's. Wow, that's crazy. This really like just a damn event for them. You transform to a mythical Azure Dragon. They had the devil fruit for Kaidos? Is that how Kaido got his devil fruit? Okay, and the pawpaw fruit was here too? Okay. Yeah, I just need about 3 to 5 episodes of God Valley and I'll be good. I'll be good. Here we go. There we go. They pulling up. Damn, we actually get to see the Rocks Pirates. This is crazy. Oh, look at Stussy. Stussy was a Rocks pirate? Big Mom. Who's that? And then Roger pulling the oh, look at him. He looked just like Ace. Oh man. Damn. Oh, this shit look clean. Oh, okay, so they knew about the pawpaw fruit, so their plan was to steal the pawpaw fruit to get off the island. And then look at Gar pulling the that's probably the pawpaw fruit. Damn. Okay, they got that one. The other one fell. Okay, she probably just gave it to Kaido. Or he took it from her. Eat it, Kuma? Damn, this guy. Fuck your history. Talk to him, Kuma. Is that all we getting? No, can't be right. They just gonna skip past everything? Okay, you say 500 people. Look at you, Kuma. Those are the hands of liberation. Looks like he learned how to use his powers quick, for the most part. This looks like the same church he grew up in, though. Why would he go back here? I guess that's the only place he know, though, but... Damn, man. Fuck the Celestial Dragons. All right, everybody. So this week's discussion might be a little bit longer than usual. There's a few things that I want to yap about here. I do have, my little handy dandy notes here right in front of me. So hopefully they'll keep me, nice and organized here. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. So, overall, fantastic episode, right? It was a fantastic episode. I really can't believe that Oda is finally showing us, a little bit of glimpse of God Valley, what happened there. But he can't keep getting away with this. There's no way you sit here and you throw me into God Valley and then just brush past it like it was nothing, right? Just brush past. We didn't even get to see Roger, and Garp team up and fight against the Rocks Pirates. We didn't even get to see them fight each other and all that. Oda, you can't keep doing me like this. You can't keep doing me like this, Oda, right? Hopefully, at some later point in the future, we actually get the full God Valley incident. I understand, he probably didn't want to stop, right in the middle of Kuma's backstory, and do the God Valley incident, but nonetheless, but you put him there though, right? Oda, you put him there, and this was an integral part of his story, right? This is where he got his pawpaw fruit, his devil fruit, and he also apparently saved 500 people at the same time on the island. Like, if we don't get to see none of that, Oda, come on now, what we doing, Oda? Come on. But hopefully, like I said, we just get to see the rest of God Valley maybe at a later date or anything. But like I said though, I understand, why he may not have just wanted to stop, right in the middle of Kuma's backstory and just sit down and do the God Valley incident. But it's okay though. We'll get there. But one thing that I did want to talk about, and I guess this would probably be one of my latest theories on the channel here. I don't know if I really want to call it a full theory just yet, but I'm just gonna throw it out there anyway. So it is a potential, just a potential, that maybe Joy Boy was a Buccaneer, right? So in these past 2 episodes, Kuma's father's been dropping some real gems in my opinion, right? So like, for example, one of the things that Kuma father told him that was, that the name Sun God Nika, right, was a legendary warrior that has been passed down in our Buccaneer heritage for generations, right? Why was his name passed down to generations? Was it because he was a legendary Buccaneer warrior, or was it just because, Nika was just a, a well-renowned warrior back in the day, his name traveled, right? So many different people knew about him, right? That could have been the case, right? That could be the case. But just hear me out now. But if Nika was a Buccaneer, then that may explain why Emu had this fat ass, version of the giant straw hat, right? The straw hat that's identical to Luffy's, right? He has one in his own little creepy, weird freezer, back in Marie's Raw, right? That he got on ice, but it's a giant version of a straw hat, right? Why is it giant? Maybe Nika was a Buccaneer. As we just found out, within these past few episodes as well, the Buccaneers are relatives to the Giants, so there's that connection, right? There's just that connection. So who knows, right? Also, at the same time, right, in 1130, there was a moment where the moment right after Kuma ate the devil fruit, right, and he ran into Saint Saturn, and he was having his conversation with Saint Saturn. He mentioned that if he could be just like Nika and save as many people as he can, he want to do that. In response to that, Saint Saturn said, he says, this is why your people needs to be eliminated, right? Did they people need to be eliminated because they essentially shared the same ideology as Nika, right? With the whole, liberation, right? The liberation mindset. And if that was the case, why do they have this mindset? Why do they share this ideology? Was it, once again, was it truly because, Nika was a Buccaneer legendary warrior, right? Or was it just, once again, could have just been the case that, he was just well renowned, back then and all that things. But the only issue with that is, so far, the only races that we've seen that even knew of Joy Boy, right, was, of course, the Fishman Island, but they're an old race, but it's been races that have been extinct so far, right? The Lunarians and, now the Buccaneers. So maybe, the world government went around and just taking out any group of people that knew Nika or that was related to them, or maybe even that he potentially, liberated. Who knows? But it's just a lot of questions, right? It's just a lot of questions. Why, once again, why did Saint Saturn say, and that's why your people needed to be destroyed, right? Because he said, I want to save, a bunch of people just like Nika. It was just an interesting thing that I wanted to point out. And then last but not least, right, just another thing that's potentially, connecting Nika to the Buccaneers and everything. Right now, currently, one of Luffy's favorite move in Gear 5 is, the Gum Gum Giant form, right? That could be nothing, but, it's something, right? Why is one of his most used forms, the giant forms, right around now, even though it is very convenient, right? But he's been popping it out a little bit more than normal, in my opinion, right? So that also, just all these things together, right, could be Oda hinting at us that Nika was a Buccaneer. just potentially, right? I don't want to go full. I'm not ready to fully dive in and say that he was a Buccaneer, but there is certainly things pointing to that direction, though, right? So it's just something to think about, right? It's just something to think about here. But moving on from there, everybody. Next up, fuck the Celestial Dragons. Yes, it's still fuck the Celestial Dragons. Just when you think these guys couldn't get any worse, we get the reveal of the God Valley incident and why they were actually there and everything, right? So it turns out these motherfuckers pulled up for a trilineal event to terrorize a group of people that wasn't affiliated with the world government, strip all their resources, and just kill everybody there. Just freaking ridiculous. Like, and made a whole event out of it, a whole event out of human hunting. It's just they was even live streaming it back to Marie Joie. Like, it's just, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? I don't know. Like I said, just when you think the Celestial Dragons couldn't get any worse, right? Because they're already the worst people in the series, right? Just when you think they can get any worse, they got worse. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. How many atrocities has these motherfuckers committed? Like, it's still to this day, we're still learning about different things that they done did, and oh man, it's crazy. And now it makes me think if they probably do, because they still was a trilineal event, but I'm just wondering they still put on that event, in modern day One Piece now. It's just crazy, man, how it's just crazy. Fuck the Celestial Dragons. Fuck the Celestial Dragons. Moving on from there, it was nice to see the young Garp and Roger. That was a great little present for us, Oda. Thank you. That boy Ace really looked like his father, man. We got to see young Roger. Damn, he looked just like Ace, man. I miss Ace, man. Damn, he was gone too soon. But it's okay though. It's okay. Also, getting to see, the other members of the Rocks Pirates was cool as well. It doesn't look like we actually got the reveal of Rocks himself in this episode, but it's okay. That just means we're gonna get that reveal at a later time, maybe even at a different event. Well, maybe not though, because if this was the situation that disbanded the Rocks Pirates, this would be his final stand, right? So Rocks was defeated here on God Valley. So is Oda gonna come back and do God Valley again? Maybe. Well, I don't know. I guess that he could show us a previous event before God Valley, right? Nonetheless, eventually I'm pretty sure, Oda's gonna give us the Rocks reveal eventually, right? No, there's no way we're not gonna get it. Also, seeing Stussy there was cool, right? Blew my mind that she was a Rocks pirate. I knew she was, with the white beard powers and everything like that, from her when she was telling us and talking, but now her story about, her son may actually be true. That may just well be Whitebeard's son. They may be his son, okay? They may be that man's son. Stussy by Evan, all right? It's no denying her. It looks like there was also a previous one of the previous Amazonian queens was there as well, so that's cool. We got to see young Big Mom and Kaido. That was cool as well. Kaido before his devil fruit, but I'm pretty sure before he had his devil fruit, but I'm pretty sure he was still a monster in any ways. And speaking of Kaido as well, this was cool that this is where he got his devil fruit as well, right? Go figure. The Celestial Dragons had the dragon devil fruit, right? Go figure. But but that was cool. So one way or another, he ended up getting the devil fruit from Big Mom. Whether she ended up giving to him, whether he ended up taking it from her, who knows? But it ended up with him right at the end of the day. So that was cool that this is where God Valley is where he ended up getting his devil fruit as well. And then I guess that also explains just in general how Vegapunk originally had the devil fruit to do science and everything on it, because the Navy, the Celestial Dragons, they originally had it, right? So they probably just gave it to him, say, here, make another one or whatever, here, use this devil for your experiments. But I just also thought that was a little cool little thing as well. But yeah, seeing the Rocks Pirates, that was cool as well. That was cool. And then last but not least, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this now. I'm pretty sure that Jenny is Bonnie's mom. Unfortunately, it looks like she's not around anymore, and Jenny probably is gonna end up dying in this backstory here. But I'm making that call now. I do believe Jenny is more than likely probably gonna be Bonnie's mom. So hey, that's cool as well though. And then just getting to see that he actually met Ivankov on God Valley as well is interesting. It's unfortunate, turns out he might have been born a slave, but he ended up being a slave as well at a young time in his life. It's just, once again, just fuck the Celestial Dragons, man. They really once again, you just know every time you think they can't get no worse, they get worse. They get worse. I don't know. I don't know how it happens. They get worse every single time. But yeah, but no, this week's episode was a good one. This week's episode was a good one. Ultimately, I am upset that we did not get the full God Valley incident, if you will. But once again, I understand, Oda may not have wanted to just sit down and just break down the God Valley right in the middle of Kuma's backstory like that. I understand, right? That, but just you can't keep teasing me like this, Oda. You can't keep doing me like this, man. You just can't. But nonetheless, everybody, that's pretty much all I had this week. I guess that's went by a little bit quicker than I thought. But yeah, that's pretty much I had everything, for this week. Thank you all for listening as always, just sitting here and listening to me. Yep. And I will see you all next week for episode 1131, everybody. Peace out.